Imagine this. Canada, a nation known for its calm diplomacy and careful alliances, is about to make the largest defense investment in 30 years. Headlines shout, $19 billion for F-35 fighter jets. The world assumes the deal is settled. Everyone thinks Ottawa has made its choice. But beneath the surface, something unexpected is unfolding. Picture this. Two paths stretch out before Canada. One is familiar: dependence on U.S. technology, high costs, limited control. The other is uncharted: potential independence, industrial revival, strategic flexibility. And lurking quietly in this story is a number that's drawing attention from every corner of the defense world: 88. Now, here's the question no one dares to ask aloud. Does national security really depend on the world's most expensive fighter jets? Could there be a smarter, more sovereign path? The stakes aren't just dollars or aircraft. This decision could reshape Canada's identity, influence its position on the global stage, and determine whether it remains a follower or becomes a nation capable of independent strategic decisions. So while the headlines focus on a $19 billion price tag, the real story, the one hidden in closed-door meetings and quiet negotiations, is just beginning. And by the end of this video, you'll see why that quiet story may matter far more than the flashy jets themselves. To understand why Canada's F-35 decision seemed like a no-brainer, we need to look at how the story was told. In 2022, the government announced plans to purchase 88 F-35 jets for $19 billion, framing it as a necessary investment in national security. The message was simple. This is about keeping Canada safe, maintaining close ties with the U.S., and ensuring our Air Force can operate alongside NATO allies. On paper, it sounds reasonable. Interoperability with the United States is crucial. Canada and the U.S. have NORAD, the North American Aerospace Defense Command, a system that has protected the continent for decades. Sharing the same aircraft and software means joint exercises, faster responses, and seamless integration in emergencies. Politicians leaned on this argument heavily, emphasizing that deviating from the F-35 program could risk our alliance or weaken our collective security. The clever part of this story is the language used: security, deterrence, strategic necessity. These words carry weight and shut down debate. Who wants to argue against national security? It's an almost untouchable shield that prevents critics from questioning the bigger picture: cost, capability, and sovereignty. But here's the thing. Just because it's framed as inevitable doesn't mean it is. The F-35 narrative is the surface truth that everyone sees, the story meant to be accepted without question. And yet, if we dig deeper, cracks start to appear, revealing a much more complex picture than the headlines suggest. Once the F-35 announcement hit the news, analysts started raising alarms, and history offered clear warnings. Take Switzerland as an example. In 2022, they budgeted 5 billion Swiss francs to buy F-35s. Just 2 years later, that number had jumped to 8 billion francs, a 60% increase, and not a single jet had even taken off the runway. This is what defense experts call structured cost escalation. The price keeps climbing as new requirements, upgrades, and delays stack up. But the problem isn't just about money. The F-35's mission-capable rate, the percentage of jets actually ready to fly at any given moment, is only 30 to 50%. Imagine you have a squadron of 10 jets on paper. In reality, only 3 to 5 are ready when you really need them. That's not just inconvenient, it's a potential disaster for a nation like Canada, with vast skies and unpredictable threats. Operating costs are another challenge. Each flight hour for an F-35 can cost between $35,000 and $47,000. For mid-size economies, that's a number that can quickly become unsustainable. Compare that to smaller, more practical alternatives, and the F-35 starts to look less like a precision tool and more like a luxury sports car you can't afford to drive. At this stage, the story begins to shift. This isn't just about high costs or complex engineering. It's about whether Canada's Air Force can actually defend its territory when it counts. And that realization sets the stage for the next challenge: Canada's unique geography. Here's where the F-35's challenges start to collide with reality. Canada isn't Germany. It isn't the UK. It's a country with the largest Arctic territory in the world, a landscape of frozen expanses, remote islands, and runways that are sometimes barely more than snow-packed strips. As climate change melts Arctic ice, new shipping routes are opening, creating opportunities, but also risks that demand constant aerial patrol. A fighter jet with a 30 to 50% readiness rate, like the F-35, simply cannot meet these demands. You can't afford half your fleet grounded when the safety of entire shipping lanes and Arctic communities is on the line. Imagine having only half the lifeboats ready on a ship navigating iceberg-filled waters. That's the kind of vulnerability we're talking about. Infrastructure is another hurdle. Many Arctic bases are tiny, with limited runways and minimal support facilities. Extreme cold can strain engines, electronics, and maintenance crews. The F-35, designed for temperate and well-equipped bases, isn't built for these conditions. In short, the F-35 might look impressive on paper, but in Canada's Arctic reality, it risks being overpowered yet underperforming. This isn't a flaw, it's a mismatch. And understanding this sets up the deeper question about control: who really holds the keys to these advanced machines? Now we move from geography to philosophy. Owning a fighter jet isn't just about metal and engines, it's about control. And here's where the F-35 raises a red flag for Canada. Every F-35 is powered by software fully owned by Lockheed Martin and the Pentagon. That means every upgrade, every new weapon integration, even small technical tweaks, require U.S. approval. Analysts call this conditional sovereignty. Canada may own the physical jets, but the brains, the systems that make them work, belong elsewhere. It's kind of like owning a high-end sports car but being forbidden to tune it yourself. Every modification requires permission from the manufacturer. This dependency isn't just theoretical. With trade tensions rising between Canada and the U.S., technology becomes a tool of political leverage. Tariffs on steel, aluminum, lumber, and cars already show how economic pressure can be applied. Imagine facing a conflict in the Arctic or along your northern trade routes while your most advanced jets can't be upgraded without a foreign government's say-so. Suddenly, the story isn't just about cost or readiness. It's about national independence. You own the metal, but not the mind. And that realization is exactly why Canada began looking for alternatives that could combine capability with control, setting the stage for the Gripen. Enter the Saab Gripen, a fighter jet that flips the F-35 story on its head. Not by being the stealthiest or most expensive, but by being built for independence. Unlike the F-35, the Gripen gives full access to its source code, meaning Canada could upgrade the jets, integrate its own weapons, and maintain them without asking anyone's permission. This is what defense experts call sovereign sustainment, the ability to operate, evolve, and improve your own defense technology. The Gripen also shines in practicality. Its mission-capable rate sits between 80 and 90%, nearly double that of the F-35. Operating costs? Around $8,000 per flight hour, a fraction of the F-35's price. And it's designed for harsh conditions. It can fly from runways as short as 800 meters, survive temperatures down to minus 40 degrees Celsius, and requires only 6 technicians to prep for flight in under an hour. For Canada's Arctic bases, where infrastructure is sparse and the weather brutal, this is exactly what's needed. Think of it like comparing a luxury sedan to a rugged all-terrain vehicle. The sedan looks impressive and fast on paper, but the terrain and conditions determine which vehicle truly performs. The Gripen may not win style points, but in function, cost, and sovereignty, it's perfectly suited to Canada's needs. Here, the story shifts. This is no longer just a question of technology. It's a choice between alliance-dependent power and nation-centric resilience, a decision that could redefine Canada's defense strategy for decades. The number 88 carries more than just a contract figure. It carries history, memory, and a chance for redemption. In 1959, Canada built the Avro Arrow, the most advanced fighter of its time. It flew faster, higher, and outperformed any American or Soviet aircraft. Yet, under political pressure from Washington, the program was abruptly canceled. 14,000 engineers and workers lost their jobs overnight, and Canada's aerospace industry collapsed. The Arrow became a symbol of lost potential, a national trauma that still echoes today. Fast forward to today, and 88 Gripens would mirror the original Arrow order. For many Canadians, this isn't just about jets. It's about rewriting history. It's a chance to reclaim the industrial and technological pride that was snatched away decades ago. But this is more than symbolism. Saab's proposal isn't just selling aircraft. It offers Canada a role in the global production chain. Engines could be built in Montreal and Winnipeg, final assembly could happen domestically, and thousands of jobs, direct and indirect, could be created. This is a return to manufacturing sovereignty, where Canada isn't just a buyer, but a creator, able to maintain, upgrade, and even export its jets to other nations. The ghosts of the Arrow whisper a question: will Canada repeat its past mistake, or will it seize the chance to combine history, technology, and independence into a single, transformative decision? Now we reach the moment of truth. Canada is standing at a historic crossroads, and the choice isn't just about jets, it's about the kind of nation it wants to be. On one path, Canada continues along the familiar route, relying on American technology, maintaining traditional alliances, paying high costs, and accepting limited autonomy. It's the safe choice, but it's also the path that led to the loss of the Avro Arrow and decades of missed opportunity. On the other path lies the Gripen, offering technological sovereignty, industrial revival, and a more independent role on the world stage. Canada could manufacture its own aircraft, make upgrades without permission, and even export to other countries like Ukraine or Poland. It's a long-term strategy, not just a defense contract, a statement that a middle power can chart its own course, even when under pressure from a powerful ally. And there's a subtle but crucial detail. Canada has already signed for 16 F-35s, far fewer than the full 88. Analysts see this as a strategic hedge, a way to maintain ties with the U.S. while keeping the door open for alternatives like the Gripen. Meanwhile, closed-door discussions with Sweden hint that the quieter, more sovereign path may be entirely possible. So the question isn't only about which plane will fly. The real question is, what kind of Canada do we want to become? One that follows, or one that asserts independence, rebuilds its industrial base, and demonstrates that middle powers can balance alliances with autonomy. If this story has sparked your curiosity about defense, sovereignty, and strategy, don't just watch, think, discuss, and follow the developments. Because in moments like these, the decisions of today will shape the Canada of tomorrow.